So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Welcome. This is the Live at 5 from Kyiv. I'm Peter Alexievich, and today is day 637 of Vladimir Putin's war of aggression against the people of Ukraine. In the last 24 hours, the Russian hardware losses, according to the Ukrainian MOD, include 7 tanks, 14 armored vehicles, and 17 artillery pieces. Now, this may sound like the numbers are down, and they are. And it makes good sense why they are. We have entered the mud season. On hold. It's very hard to find a place on the front line where you can drive a tank and it doesn't get buried in the muck. Things have gotten cold, though. There's been quite a bit of snow. We'll see how the weather holds up and whether or not that ground freezes. But there's a tank that's literally up to the turret in the mud. It's just sunk 4 or 5 feet down into the mud. Awful. I can't imagine what it's like out there. Saw the first day of the 17th meeting of the Ukrainian Contact Group in Ramstein. Secretary Defense Lloyd Austin is present at that. Defense Lloyd Austin is present at that meeting. Many of the world's largest democracies, the defense ministers are zooming in, I guess, but they're attending online. And the principal discussion will be around providing air defense for Ukraine through the winter in order to protect and secure the energy grid from the anticipated onslaught of Russian missiles. According to Ukrainian intelligence, the Russians have 800 caliber and Onyx missiles in reserve in Crimea right now, ready to start hitting. Buffering pretty badly, huh? You think so, Jana? Assume that it's on your end. Yana has a great point. Doesn't get the dots when it's on your end. All right. I'm going to try restart, guys, and we'll see if it helps. Frozen. I'm back on the YouTube. Hey, Sam Smith. Just restarted the live because I'm not sure what's going on. Bobby, is that you on the To Be Used too? So the live was frozen on YouTube as well. That's a good question, Ballerina. It's a good question. It was probably just last night, but sometimes that doesn't mean anything. Does it seem better now, Effenhell? What's the consensus? Rational Squirrel. Nice to see you. I just had it explained to me yesterday how the likes work, how the likes play with the algorithm. I'm a total noob at this TikTok thing. I'm only here 5 months now. And so it's really still all very new to me. And I didn't understand how important those likes are to the algorithm. Has really been leading the charge on the likes. I really appreciate that, Lars. And I appreciate everybody for liking the live. Thank you for liking the live. Thank you for sharing the live, etc. Okay. So let's try to do this again. Let's go back to the news here. 17th meeting of the contact group, the Ukraine contact group, kicked off in Ramstein today. The EU is building long-term security arrangements with Ukraine for both military and humanitarian aid, building it into the systems of government. This is a critical message to send to Moscow that the EU support is not going anywhere. Right now in Moscow, Vladimir Putin is keeping his fingers crossed that the US is done. That with Mike Johnson in there, who they love in Moscow, thanks, Empol, with whom they love in Moscow, that all the aid from the US is going to stop. And God knows Mike Johnson is doing everything he can to stop it. In an absolute abnegation of duty at this critical crisis time in the world, when our allies, Israel and Ukraine, are under the gun, you've got the Congress going home for an extended break, leaving our allies in the clinch. Not to mention the humanitarian aid that we promised the people in Gaza. That's a real thing. And we have responsibilities in the world, no matter what these guys think. The whole idea of breaking up the aid package, and for anybody who's done it before, because me and Vanetta and Cheyenne, we work on these email message templates that you can send to Congress and the president. If you haven't contacted us for the president's letter, please do so. We just came out, Vanetta just came out with a great president's letter urging him to exercise his authority on the presidential drawdown and get Ukraine what it needs for the winter. It's an important letter. Please, guys, if you haven't sent it to the president yet, please get in touch with us and get that letter out. That's for the Americans here. Sorry, I hate to be, but some things are U.S. specific, like the $100 million aid package that Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin announced yesterday here in Kyiv. So the gentleman was here in Kyiv yesterday. He announced a new aid package. This is part of the Presidential Drawdown Authority, which there's after this 100 million, there's 4.8 billion left in that still. But in this package, it includes Stingers, Javelins, 3 million rounds of small arms ammunition, 105 and 155 millimeter shells, not to mention demining and demolition equipment, cold weather gear, tow missiles, and my favorite, 1 modified HIMARS. Now, how exactly it's modified, we don't know. But the thinking is that it has been modified for those ground-launched small diameter bombs. And those bombs have a range of 93 miles, not kilometers, 93 miles. That's almost all of Ukraine, all within the temporarily occupied territories. Will be fair game for a HIMARS a HIMARS system launching GLDSB. So keep your fingers crossed. We're also sending spare parts, not just for the equipment that we've already sent, but for the F-16s as well. So that's good news. But it pales in comparison to the news from the Germans. The Germans have put out a new defense package, 1.3 billion euros. That's right, 1.3 billion euros. It includes 4 Iris Ts, 20,000 155 millimeter shells, anti tank mines, surveillance drones and detection equipment, as well as other undisclosed. Stream is completely frozen now. All right. Anyway. White House's John Kirby. Now, look, a month ago, I warned about this. It was believed by Ukrainian intelligence that the Iranians were getting ready to deliver Fatah missiles. These are ballistic missiles to the Russians. Today, John Kirby, the national security advisor to the president, announced the same thing, that they are concerned that this axis of evil is continuing to arm the Kremlin, and with them, the Fatah missiles. Kirby said there is a burgeoning military cooperation between Russia and Iran that is not good for Ukraine, not good for Iran's neighbors, nor is it good for the security and safety of the world. And we could not agree with Mr. Kirby more. On the subject of eroding support, this is exactly what the Kremlin is hoping for. Fico has put together a government in Slovakia, and they are on track to end all Slovakian aid for Ukraine. Right next door, next in line to the Russian menace, and they're going to stop supporting Ukraine. It's unreal. It's unreal. And on the subject of Western sanctions, we have found Czech components in Russian helicopters. And so the sanctions are still being circumvented, and Western components are getting to the Russians in order to unalive Ukrainians. There can be no doubt that that is their purpose. So, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else, those are the highlights for today. I'm going to go ahead and end the YouTube stream.